Is playing Oregon a second time an advantage for Ohio State, given the fact that we have not one, but two coaches currently on this coaching staff who are making big time decisions, who have experience playing the same teams in their division while in the NFL multiple times? Let me explore this one step further before I turn it over to you guys to answer the question. I heard several NFL coaches who have been asked this before say that the advantage is when you scheme against an opponent a second time, you're scheming with basically taking a play you ran and now you're running a play off that play. Ryan Day was really good at this back when he was offensive coordinator, and I think Chip Kelly's really good at this as well when he's out there in the zone calling plays. Given the film that Oregon has on Ohio State from when we played them in Eugene, Oregon, as well as all the film they've had on us for the last several weeks as well, do you guys view this as an advantage for Ohio State that when they go into this game, they have coaches who have experience doing this very thing that we're talking about, and that is going up against a team and scheming against them additionally after already playing them one time before, Corey?
Yeah, I think it's an advantage, specifically because the defense we run now is actually quite a bit different than we ran against them in Eugene. So it'll be interesting. They don't have just tape again of them against our defense. They have tape of what our defense has done. But if you haven't played against it, I think there's a distinct difference, obviously, from seeing it on film versus lining up against it. Um, and on top of that, we know what our mistakes were the first time around. And I kind of curious as to um, how we correct some of those mistakes. But at the same time, there's another big advantage here. When we lost Josh Simmons mid game against Oregon, we had to figure out how to figure out that issue mid game, and that's a tough draw for any coach. I don't care how great a coach you are, even Saban. If you have to figure out how to replace an All American left tackle in mid game, it's like crap, you know. And we've solidified that now. Donnie Jackson's doing a great job there. Hinsman at center now. We feel good with the rotations at the guards. We've kind of figured out a cadence with our offensive line. So I think that's a big advantage going in this game because we don't have to figure it out mid game. We've been spending weeks now figuring out what the best line rotation is. Um, I think uh, I think that and the defense makes it an advantage going into this game. But again, can you really say either team is the same team they were back in what was it, late September, October when we played them? So
Yeah,
of
October
October,
October
yeah,
12th. Yep.
yeah. So I don't. The only advantage I think is that we've figured out some of our issues, and but they also I think there's an uptightness to this. I mean, look, they're undefeated. They're yeah, we were technically favored in this game, I guess, by 2.5 on a neutral field, which I look at it and say, well, but yeah, we might be favored by Vegas, but people expect Oregon to be the number one team in the country and to be the favorite to go and win the national title. In fact, the Oregon fans are pretty cocky right now. So um, I think I think it's easy to say since we lost to them originally, we can play with an underdog mentality like we did against Tennessee when a lot of people were using them as the favorite to knock us off after we had the way we played against Michigan, which was understandable at the time. But now we look like the best team in the country last week. So how does that change? So I think the advantage is the defense. I think the advantage is we figured out the offensive line. I think the advantage is we can play with a chip on our shoulder, knowing we lost them, and feel like an underdog going in against them. And on top of that, the rest of the conference is rooting for them to beat us. So that's gonna. I just think there's many ways you can get this team up to play this game.
Chris.
So for me, as much as I have criticized Ryan Day, as much as I am a member of that lunatic fringe that Kurt likes to talk about, let me tell you, one thing Ryan Day does extremely well, and it may very well go back to those NFL roots, is when he gets a second chance at somebody, with the exception of that mind block he's got against the team up north, he tends to show. You look at what happened in that Clemson game, the second Clemson game. He came out, different team.
2019 to 2020.
Yes. You look, I mean, I think that he can go out there. I think that Chip Kelly can go out there and they can make the necessary adjustments. And that's what this game is going to be about. That, and does Ryan Day do exactly what he did in the Tennessee game? Drop the play sheet, let his OC and DC call the game, and him manage the game. If he does that, I think this team has a very good chance to win. I think that the NFL is, in a sense, a great training ground for that type of mentality. So, is there an advantage to those guys having played in the NFL? Is there an advantage getting it the second time? I think there's a slight advantage. But more than anything, Cory brought this up. Even though Ohio State's the favorite to win, I almost feel like, as much as everyone's down on Ryan Day, myself included, has been down on Ryan Day. I think that the pressure now swings to Oregon. Because you think about it, Ohio State, a lot of people thought might not make it past Tennessee. A lot of people are saying now they're not going to make it past Oregon. But and Ryan Day can go out there and let it all hang out because his AD has already told him your job's secure. So I think that the pressure swing also favors Ohio State in a sense. I feel like this is a team that if they go out and play their best game like they did against Tennessee, I think it's a double-digit win for Ohio State. I really do.
Yeah, so let me address this real fast. Donald and Karen Rosbach, interesting comment, and I've actually learned a lot the last couple days that this comment addresses. They need to design the offensive game plan to help the offensive line like they did against Tennessee. So here's what they did against Tennessee, and you can go back and watch the film, and you can actually see this in real time. So they broke this thing down. And by the way, Tennessee played right into Chip
Yes.
Kelly's offensive game plan. I mean, like they couldn't have designed a better defensive plan for Chip Kelly to scheme against. Okay. They were playing single high safety, one on one coverage against Jeremiah Smith. That is dumb with a capital D. Like dumb. Okay. And literally, I believe that Chip Kelly told Will Howard the offensive game plan was make one read, two at the most, get rid of the ball, or get out of there. Like, I don't think this offensive line, they did not have as much faith in this offensive line in the pass blocking as they did at the beginning of the season. Obviously, right? And with Tennessee playing one on one coverage on the outside like they were, Will Howard just had to throw it up more times than not to the outside to our stud receivers, and it was ball game. So Tennessee played into that immensely. So I'm telling you straight up, Oregon is not going to do that. They are not going to play
Mm-mm.
single high safety one on one on the outside with Jeremiah Smith. Okay. So what I believe Chip Kelly and this offense is going to do is you're going to see a lot of quick slant underneath stuff. You're going to see things to the tight end. You're going to see things to the running backs. This is what Oregon is going to give us. And Oregon is going to try to dare our offense to be patient and drive it down the field because they're not going to let us go over the top with Jeremiah Smith. Now, the good news is if we can keep dinking and dunking and we score tons of points early on and we could just get the keys out and you drive down the field and the defense is making stops and you get a lead, then it's going to draw the defense up and then you can go over top. But I'm telling you, defensively, Oregon is not going to do what Tennessee did and just let us go over top all game long. That's not going to happen. And given this offensive line, I don't think they want that to happen. They're going to try to give this defensive line that they have time to get to Will Howard,
Yes.
and to create chaos in the backfield. So great comment, Donald. I agree with you. It is going to be a chess match, and that is one of the bigger parts of that. Yes, Chris, you were about to
No,
say
no, I
something?
was agreeing with you. I said yes.
Yeah.
You're correct.
Okay, well, it's good to be right. I mean,
It's rare that I agree with what you're saying, Eric. So,
I know I was shocked. I'm a little bit dumbfounded. I don't know where to go from here.
Cory, look at him. He's confused. He doesn't know what to say.
I don't like my co-host isn't going to argue with me on this one. So, anyways, that's kind of what I see here. This is going to be a big Emeka Egbuka game.
Yes.
I believe that. Also, came up earlier today when I jumped on with the Buckeye boys. They were moving Jeremiah Smith around a lot last week against Tennessee and trying to find those good matchups. And I expect more of the same in this one too. But go back to the last game against Oregon. Emeka Egbuka had 10 receptions in that game, 80 some yards and a touchdown. Jeremiah Smith, 9 receptions, 100 yards and a touchdown. Like they were letting our receivers, like they were just, Oregon was saying, we're going to let you catch the football, but we don't think that you can have the patience and get down and complete third and shorts, etc. So I think Oregon's going to do very much a similar thing. Do you agree with that, Cory? Do you think Oregon's going to come out with something different?
I mean, there's going to be some varying degrees of tweaks and things that they're going to do a little differently. I think they obviously have to attack our offensive line a little differently than they did last time based on the different personnel alone. I definitely agree with you. They're not going to let us go over the top. But I'll tell you, if we are able to complete those quick passes, that favors our offensive line. So, yeah,
Exactly.
I do agree. So, but the question becomes then our red zone offense. How effective is that? We can't settle for field goals. You just can't. And that too high safety stuff, I mean, people have figured out how to beat it, but it gets really tricky in the red zone. And it's a lot of bend, don't break. And then they just hope that you either make a mistake or you just settle for a field goal.
And that's really Oregon's game because defensively, they are really good at getting off the field on third down. 33.1 or 1%, was it, Chris? 33.1% of the time on third downs, they're getting off they're holding their opponents to only 33.1% third down success rate.
Yep.
So, which is one of the best.
And we haven't been that great on third down. So
we're actually at 33.9%.
That's our defense. Cory's saying our offense is not that great on third down. So
we just do what we did at Tennessee, and we just don't have but 9 third downs.
Yeah, just don't have any third downs.
Yeah, right. Like we get first downs on first and second down, and we don't have to worry about third down. But no, that's Oregon is playing a percentage game with you. Like if we make you have 3 or 4 third downs in a row, eventually you're not going to get one. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what they're playing. If you look at the percentages on how they're playing defense, so. Like Oregon will give up yards, but they're not giving up a ton of points, right? So, and here's the thing, they're not as good as Ohio State defensively in the red zone. So if we can get it to the red zone, our percentage of opportunities to score is actually greater than what Oregon's is against our defense in the red zone. So you have to move the football, but once you get in the red zone, you've got to put it in the end zone. You can't settle for field goals. And given our kicking game, Cory, I don't want to settle for field goals.
No, gosh, no. Absolutely not.
I told you how I was going to end, Derek. We're going to put one end in garbage time just to show that we can.
I know. I know. You believe that.
It's getting sickening watching all these other teams in these bowl games have great kickers, and it's like we can't get one that can make a 34-yarder at home against the rival. I just saw somebody, I can't remember what school was, just nailed a 54-yarder like it was nothing. I was like, this is how is everybody else able to find one?
Yeah.